Mike, Beast Jew. Good morning, young people. It's good to see you all here this day. As it was said, my name is Cesspooch. My name means white belly in Ute. My great-great-grandpa had a big white birthmark on his tummy, and that was his Indian name. And I don't have that birthmark, but he did. And so that name comes down generation to generation. My Indian name is Ipage. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm 64, and I can still run a couple miles easily, still do a lot of things younger people can do, so I'm very happy with that. I'm told I'm going to be around for a long time, so I'm a storyteller. I tell my stories in film, play music, and do these kind of things. But it's all in telling stories. Everybody has a story. My name, Cesspooch, comes from around Montrose. You all know where Montrose is over in Colorado? Our people pretty much occupied Colorado and Utah. And when the Spaniards came, they were the first non-Indians, came into Ute country around 1600. They called us Utah, Y-U-T-A. And it eventually became the name of the state here, Utah. So it's named after our Ute people. And when the Spaniards came, they brought with them the horse. We call it pretty much the same that they did, Cuba. And that was a wild Mustang. And the wild Mustang was very appropriate for this area, for the sagebrush and for us short Utes. For most of us, we're short. Except our younger generation, they're pretty tall. And we were relocated out to the reservation where I live now, which is just over a couple of hills, over on the UNN-Ouray Ute Reservation. And we're the second largest reservation next to the Navajo Nation in the States. We occupy 3.5 million acres. But that's a drop in the bucket when you figure we've lost Colorado and we've pretty much lost Utah. All of our Utes that lived on the Wasatch Front were also relocated over on the reservation. So that's where we are today. Every tribe, they have their stories that talk about creation and how they came to be where they are today and what they do to exist. Well, our Ute people are the same way. We have our stories, and these are passed down. We never wrote anything down. They were passed on generation to generation. My grandmother told me these stories, and so I've remembered them. And in today's world, a lot of our younger people don't know those stories to tell their kids. So I'm grateful that I'm here to pass on those stories. There's something in these stories for each of you, and you take that knowledge with you today to use it to do good things in this world. Our creation stories begin with Sonoy. He's the creator. Can you say his name? Sonoy. Sonoy is a creator, and in the beginning there was nothing. And Sonoy is a great thinker, avant sumai. So he was thinking one time, and he snapped his fingers, and when he did, there appeared light. And he began to talk to this light, saying, Muiget Kovich, you are the sun. And began to tell it of its responsibilities. And every day you will come up, and everything will come to me through this light. And when he finished, he put that sun over his right shoulder. Now he could see, but there's nothing to see. So, as we know, Kovich, the sun, can be pretty hot sometimes. So Sonoy created rain and snow. Called them kumui. Can you say that? Kumui. Rain and snow. Rain and snow. And he took the rain and snow, kumui, put those over his left shoulder. Now everything was just right. Nice and cool. He was happy about that. But Sonoy wanted more. Sonoy wanted to create Mother Earth. So he has a magic staff, and he begins to cut a hole to the heavens. And he works on this hole for a long time. And when he had finished his hole, he took the contents, dropped them through, and he took that rain and snow, rain and snow, and put those through the hole. And he did this for a long time. Finally, he was curious, what's in the hole? So he steps through the hole. And he was standing on snow-capped mountains, pretty much like the mountains here during the winter. And everything was very cold and desolate. And he didn't like that. So he tells the sun, Kovich, shine through this hole. And when it did, it began to melt all the snow and the ice. And they turned into rivers and streams and eventually flowed into the ocean. With his magic staff, he breaks off a piece and he puts it in the water, and they turn into fish and they swam away. He takes his hand or his staff and goes all across Mother Earth, and everything turns green. And he goes around and gathers leaves of all different kinds from the different trees. And making magic, he blows on them, and they turn into birds of all different kinds and fly all over the world. With his magic staff, he created all the animal people. And they got along pretty good. Everything was in harmony. Until he creates, come on, honey, Kovich, Coyote. Can you say its name? Kovich. Louder, Kovich. Kovich is a trickster for many tribes. So Kovich used to always create chaos and problems. So he'd go around to the animals and he'd say, hey, those other animals are talking bad about you. And the animals looked at the others. Hey, what are you saying about us? And he'd come over to the other animals and he'd say, hey, they're talking about you over there, and it's not good. And these animals said, hey, don't be talking about us. And all of a sudden, all the animals began to fight. And every time Kovich creates chaos, his tail wags crazy and he runs away. Well, there was fur and teeth and feathers flying everywhere. And Creator comes back and he sees all this and says, no, 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 this won't work. So he creates Coyote. Can you say his name? Coyote. the bear. He says, Quiaget, I would like you to be the leader of all the animal nation. Will you do this for me? Quiaget says, yes, I will do that. Yes. So ever since that time, Quiaget has been the leader of all the animal nation. When Coyote gets rowdy, he just sets on Coyote. Coyote's legs just flop around and he can't get out from underneath. How do you say its name? Quiaget. Well, the Creator created Kovich, Gumui, Duvip, Mother Earth, and all the animals, Besiagats, but he wanted more. His intention was to create human beings. So he has a magic bag. And he begins to go around the earth, gathering twigs from all different trees. The black mambo, the Russian olive, the Chinese elm, and the cottonwood. And he puts them all in a bag. And he does this for a long time. And the Creator gets tired, Sonoy. Oh, pui, I'm tired. So he decides to go take a rest. And who do you think is watching all this time he's doing this? Kovich. Kovich is very curious. What's in the bag? What's in the bag? So he comes and takes a sniff, and the bag begins to move. And he hears all kinds of sounds coming from the bag. Now he's really curious. What's in the bag? So he has a stone knife, and he cuts the bag. How many of you have stepped on an anthill? What happens? All the people start coming out, and Coyote tried to put them back in the bag, and there were so many people, he freaks out and runs away. Well, Sonoy came back and seen his bag was empty. And he knew who had done what. He seen the hole in the bag. He was bummed. He reaches inside the bag. And there's only one more group of people. And it's the Ute people. And he says, Muiget, Kovich, Muiget, Nuchu, you are Ute people. Muiget, Chichige, you are strong. And we'll be able to defeat all the rest. So I'm going to put you high over in the Rocky Mountains, high in the Uinta Mountains, and high in these Wasatch Mountains. And that's how we became known as mountain people. Pretty cool, eh? Well, Creator was still bummed at Coyote. Coyote, Beke, come here. So Coyote came with his tail tucked between its legs and knew Creator was upset. And he says, Kovich, I had plans to put people equally all over the world, but because what you've done, now they fight over everything. So every night, you're going to howl to the moon. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. How many have heard Coyote out there? Yeah, still paying penance. When Creator decides to make life, everything has a purpose. Takes Mother Earth, Kovich is what we call it, and water. Made mud pies. This is all the plant people, all the animal people, and all us human beings. Everything has a purpose in this life. He blesses us with a mission to accomplish something here. And He blesses us with gifts to be able to accomplish that mission. Each one of you, especially these ones who will be here performing today, have been blessed with something special. Never want for somebody else's gifts because you have your own. You already know what you do better than anybody else. That's your gift. Use it. Learn to use it. It'll take you anywhere you want to go. The last thing the Creator does is blesses us with part of our spirit, of its spirit. And Sonoiv is not only male, it's female and animal. So it blesses us with part of its spirit. And spirit moves with breath. When we take that first breath in this life, as babies, that spirit entered our body through this soft part of our skull. We call that a buwagat. And it's like a little AAA battery, weighs about the same amount. But it's what keeps our heart beating throughout our life. And hopefully we realize what those gifts are and we use them. Eventually, the day will come where that heart will stop beating. And that spirit will leave his body again to that buwagat and go back to the Creator, back to the circle of life where all energy comes from. Some call it heaven. And this body, we return that back to Mother Earth. That's why Native people say, all my relations, because we're all the same. We come from Kovich and Pa. Pa is water. We're 85% water, and the rest is just minerals. Sonoiv wanted a way to show us how we're all related. So he gave us this medicine wheel. This medicine wheel circle is the circle of life. This is where we all come from. These feathers represent all the animal nation. And the hoop is made out of red willow. And all nations of the world are in this circle. You have the yellow man to the east, the red man to the south, the black man to the west, and the white man to the north. All nations are here together. We call that nanama. Can you say that? Nanama. Together. And that's the way the Creator intended us to be. Nanama. Our word in Ute for thank you and goodbye are one and the same. Daweak. Thank you.